You don't have to be a villain to have sadistic tendencies. I used to believe that sadism was something dramatic and extreme, something only violent or deeply cruel people engaged in. But through honest self-reflection, I've come to recognize a much subtler version that quietly shows up in my own everyday life. Psychologists call it everyday sadism, and learning to see it has been one of the most important realizations on my path toward greater self-awareness. It appears in the most ordinary moments. I might feel a small, private rush of satisfaction when a coworker fumbles during a meeting and the room fills with awkward laughter. Or I catch myself enjoying the precise sting of a well-timed passive-aggressive comment that leaves someone slightly embarrassed. Sometimes it shows up as gossiping about another person's failure, anonymously trolling online just to watch them react, or subtly setting someone up to look bad while pretending innocence. For years, these moments felt completely harmless to me. They seemed like just joking or blowing off steam. But I've since learned they are clear examples of everyday sadism in action. Everyday sadism is a recognized personality trait. It forms part of what researchers call the dark tetrad, 4 overlapping dark personality traits that also include narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Unlike extreme sadism, this version involves deriving quiet pleasure from other people's mild discomfort, humiliation, or small failures. Research by psychologist Aaron Buckles has shown that people higher in this trait don't just passively enjoy watching others suffer. In laboratory settings, some actively choose to cause or prolong minor harm because it gives them a feeling of power. For a long time, I didn't fully realize how often I participated in this pattern. It felt so automatic in daily interactions at work, online, and with friends that I barely noticed it. Here's what I've come to understand. Everyday sadism functions as a hidden survival loop, a trap I call the invisible matrix trap. In the short term, it gives a quick ego boost, a cheap sense of superiority or control. That small dopamine hit reinforces the behavior. Over time, it creates a self-defeating cycle. Each time I choose that subtle cruelty, through gossip, trolling, passive aggression, or enjoying someone else's stumble, I reinforce separation instead of connection. I train myself to see others as sources of amusement rather than fellow humans worthy of empathy. Relationships stay shallow, trust erodes, genuine creation and collaboration become harder. It feels like being caught in an invisible matrix. The system keeps me reactive and focused on small wins instead of deeper fulfillment. Higher awareness has been the turning point for me, and I still struggle with this every single day. But I learn every day. I've found powerful guidance in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. When I notice the impulse, that quiet pleasure in someone else's discomfort, I can now pause and choose the way of love instead of the cheap ego win. I can celebrate someone's success rather than secretly hope for their failure. I can offer support instead of subtle sabotage. I can build people up rather than tear them down. This shift doesn't require me to be perfect. It simply asks me to become more conscious of my reactions in everyday situations at work, online, or with friends. I still slip sometimes, but I keep returning to awareness and to these words. When I consistently choose compassion and love over cruelty, even in small moments, real change happens. My relationships grow deeper and more authentic. I create space for genuine connection. I free up energy for creativity instead of defensive patterns. I step out of the reactive loop into a clearer way of living. Everyday sadism is not about being a bad person. It is a common human tendency many of us slip into without realizing. The hidden matrix trap is not destiny. It is a pattern that can be interrupted. Awareness is the first step. Choosing compassion, And the kind of love described in 1 Corinthians 13 in ordinary moments is how I break the cycle. Now, whenever I feel that subtle pull toward enjoying someone else's discomfort, I pause and ask myself, am I choosing the cheap ego win, or am I choosing real love and connection? My answer in those quiet moments continues to shape who I become and the quality of life I create for myself and those around me.